Alright, morning guys. So before we get started on this one, get a calculator. If you don't have a calculator, pause and go get a calculator, please. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and talk about solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. So we've already talked about solving via factoring. That should have been watched already, where you get it set equal to 0, but sometimes you cannot sometimes you cannot factor everything, so you have to use what is called or known as the quadratic formula. This lovely formula was my favorite formula in school. We had to memorize this thing with a little song. Maybe I'll sing it for you in class. So this is when it can be, again, not used. It can't be solved by factoring. So what we do is we take a look at our equation that we're given, and we need to pull out some of our values. So our values that we use are a will always be in front of the x squared. Maybe, come on, the computer's a little slow today. So here's my a. So my a is not the variable, it's just a number. So 3. B is going to be in front of my x term, along with the signs, so -5. And C will be the constant, or the term with no variables. Again, bringing the sign with it, so that -2. -2. What we're going to do now is we're going to take these numbers and plug it into the equation in front of us. So essentially, we're taking something involving x's into something that just involves numbers, which makes our lives a lot easier. So first things first is I need to start with plugging in the top part, because it's a fraction, we always start with the numerator. This is -b. So what that means is it's the opposite of the b. So my b is -5. So I'm going to write 5. Next comes the plus minus part. So I write the plus minus part. Then I have the square root of this giant thing. So I'm going to make that nice and big because I write big. Make sure yours is big enough. Remember, you want everything that you're about to write to fit under here. If it doesn't, you have to keep extending the line. Okay, so then I need to do my b squared. Okay, so b was 5, so I have 5 squared. Minus, because that's what I see is next, 4. Yes, it will always be -4. Always. That's just how it works, trust me. Times a. Well, my a value was 3. Times c, which my c value was a -2. So far we've got the top. We've got our opposite of our b, plus or minus the b squared, minus 4 times my a times my c, all over 2, yes, always over 2, times the a value, and my a in this case was a 3. So first steps first is we just plugged everything into we plugged everything into that formula. So now what we need to do is we need to do some simplifying. And I might have to move this down, but that's just because I write so big. So when we do our simplifying, we're going to simplify the stuff underneath the square root first. So that 5 out front is going to stay. 5 squared, or 5 times 5, is going to give me 25. In my calculator, gotta turn it back on, I'm going to hit -4. Because even though this is -4, it's essentially taking the sign in front of it, so it's -4 times 3 times -2. And that gives me a positive 24. Okay, so because it's positive 24, I'm going to write plus 24 here. I know originally it was minus, but I ended up getting this minus away when I multiplied it by a negative 2. So that part has to all be done in your calculator so you don't mess up the sign. So again, I hit negative 4 times 3 times negative 2, and that got me a positive 24. So because it's positive, I write positive. Okay. That is all still going to be divided by, now, 2 times 3. 2 times 3 gives me 6. Okay. Now let's simplify a little bit more. Again, nothing can go on with the 5 yet, so he's going to stay outside. I'm going to go ahead and take 25 plus 24, and I get 49. Divided by 6. The square root of 49 is, ladies and gentlemen, 7. So I have 5 plus or minus 7, all divided by 6. So what that means is I have 2 answers. Just like I had 2 answers when I was solving for x by factoring, I'm still going to have 2 answers. So one of the answers will be my 5 plus 7 divided by 6, which we're going to simplify here in a second. And then it's going to be 5 minus 7 divided by 6. So what I did here is I took my plus or minus and I split it. I made one plus and I made the other negative or minus. So this will give me 12 divided by 6, which is 2. So one of my answers is 2. And then the other one is going to give me negative 2 over 6, which will give me a negative 1 over 3. So the hardest part is making sure you simplify your steps correctly. All right, let's try the next one. So first steps first, let's pick out our values for a, b, and c. Remember, a is whatever is in front of x squared. Now, if I don't see a number, what invisible number is there? Good, 1. So I have 1, negative 4, and 3. Okay, so my formula, now I'm going to tell you the formula. I know it's above here. Where's my mouse? I know it's up here. And it's also on your paper. I'm going to tell it to you because I have this stupid thing memorized. So it gives me negative b, so the opposite of b, which is 4, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times 1 times 3 all divided by 2 times 1. I don't want our colors getting confused. Okay. So step number 1, put everything in the formula. Step number 2, start simplifying underneath the square root. So I have 4. Oh, that's not going to be a straight line. So I have 4 plus or minus. 4 times 4 is 16. In my calculator, I'm going to hit negative 4 times 1 times 3. Okay. So negative 12. So I'm going to have 16 minus 12 divided by 2, because 2 times 1 is 2. Okay. So then I have 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 12 gives me 4 over 2. Oh, that really didn't turn into a 2, did it? Square root of 4 is 2. So 4 plus or minus 2 divided by 2. So that means I have 4 plus 2 divided by 2. And I have 4 minus 2 divided by 2. So it gives me 6 over 2, which is 3. And this gives me 2 over 2, which is 1. So my answer is 3 and 1. So I couldn't remember how many pages and how many problems we have. So, that guy's real close. I didn't give myself enough room there. I might have to scooch some of these when we go. So let's go ahead and do this next one together. I am going to talk you through a lot of it, but because I have a lot of problems in here, I'm going to try and do a little bit more simplifying out loud than actually showing you. Is that okay? If not, I'm sorry. Don't hate me. So first steps first, I'm at A, B, and C. A is in front of x squared, so that's 2. B is in front of the x, so 3. And C is the thing all by itself, so negative 5. So my formula is the opposite of B. So in this case, because my B is positive, it's going to be negative now. So I have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared. That's not 32, that's 3 squared. Let me fix that. Minus 4 times 2 times negative 5 all over 2 times 2. Okay. Negative 3 plus or minus 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And then I'm going to have negative 4 times 2 times negative 5, which is 40. And it's positive, so we're going to add all over 4. So this here essentially will give me the square root of 49. The square root of 49 is going to give me 7. So I have 3 plus 7 over 4, and I have 3 minus 7 over 4. See what I mean by not showing every single step, but kind of talking about it? We should know that there's going to be a plus or minus here, but I already went ahead and split it. If you don't like it, go ahead and add that extra step. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is going to give me 10 over 4. That's not going to be pretty. And this is going to give me negative 1, because it's negative 4 over 4. So those are my two answers. Yay! I'm really trying to make these straight lines. It's not really working out though. Okay, next one. My A is 1, my B is 8, and my C is 12. So I have negative B, so negative 8, plus or minus the square root of B squared, minus 4 times 1 times 12, all over 2 times 1. That's going to give me negative 8, because remember, nothing's going on to him yet. Square root of 64, because 8 times 8 is 64. And I have negative 4 times 1 times 12, which is minus 48, all over 2. So I'm going to take 64 minus 48, which will give me 16. So that guy there is essentially the square root of 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So I have negative 8 plus 4 over 2. And I have negative 8 minus 4 over 2. This is going to give me negative 4 over 2. This is going to give me negative 2. And this is going to give me negative 12 over 2, which is going to give me negative 6. So those are my two answers. Remember, if you don't have enough room, you can always go on an extra piece of paper or whatnot for your work. I think I only have 2 on this next page. Yep, okay. Alright, let's finish these last 2. Let's keep working. Keep working. Okay, so I have my A is 3. My B is 2. My C is negative 1. So I have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 1 all over 2 times 3. And negative 2 is not going to change. So I have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4. Negative 4 times 3 times negative 1, which is positive 12, so plus 12 all over 6. 4 plus 12 is going to give me the square root of 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So I have negative 2 plus 4 over 6. And I have negative 2 minus 4 over 6. Negative 2 plus 4 is going to give me positive 2 over 6, which isn't going to give me a pretty answer. And I have negative 6 over 6, which will give me negative 1. So my answers are 2 over 6 and negative 1. I'm going to extend this so you can see the next problem. Okay, A is 2, B is 5, and C is negative 7. I have negative 5 plus or minus 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 7 all over 2 times 2. It's going to give me negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25. I got negative 4 times 2 times negative 7, which is 56, so plus 56 all over 4. Go ahead and add those two together. You should get the square root of 81. So I have negative 5 plus, oops, not what I wanted to do. Negative 5 plus 9, because the square root of 81 is 9, over 4. I have negative 5 minus 9 over 4. Negative 5 plus 9 is going to give me a positive 4 over 4, which is 1. This is going to give me negative 14 over 4, which will not reduce, so it's just negative 14 over 4. Okay. We did it. I got those done. Now I want you to try these last two on your own. Obviously check them. That one's a tricky one. So, where's my mouse? There it is. When you do this guy, you get the square root of 0. Square root of 0 is just 0, so he cancels out. He's gone. There's no plus or minus anything. So you just get negative 10 divided by 2, which is negative 5. So neither of those are pretty. That's not a B, that's a 6, by the way. Neither of those are pretty answers on that one, but hey, who said they had to be whole numbers? Alright, see you later, guys.